need you to unmute your...
Okay. Hi.
Okay. Would you please come in by video?
Yeah, working on it.
Pardon?
Working on it.
Oh. All right. So, who indicated you could appear by Zoom?
I don't.
It showed it online.
Do you need
Did
me?
your notice indicate Zoom?
What notice?
We didn't get a notice either way.
You didn't get a notice to appear today?
I got a notice to appear on March 8th. Back when, and I don't remember getting anything new except that it got postponed to this date because of COVID.
Correct.
So
how did you know to appear today?
We looked it up online to see if we were going to have a court date anytime soon.
Okay, what is your address? Okay, we sent you a notice on April 24 with today's date.
that's a long time ago.
Wouldn't this be appearing if it's by Zoom?
If you want me there, I could be there in 10 minutes.
The court normally determines when you appear by Zoom, ma'am. So, can you just talk to them?
Yeah, I'll talk.
Okay, so you'll come up here to the podium and speak with them,
Okay.
and then let me know
Where's the camera?
where's the camera.
Oh.
I will move it for you.
Okay.
This is the attorney for the township.
Yep. I think we met maybe once or twice before.
Yeah, I remember you.
Okay. All right. So just to start over, my name's Seth. I'm one of the township attorneys for Antwerp Township. What we're here today for is a formal hearing. I know last time we met, you wanted your formal hearing, which we could have, or we could try to resolve it. It's really your decision. It's whatever you'd like to do. Just to sort of go over what we offered last time it's a blight citation. I believe the date of the citation was November 19th of 2019. Deputy Graham issued that citation. He's here today. Basically what the township would ask is, if you wanted to resolve it today, we would be willing to waive all fines and costs associated with this. It's a municipal civil infraction, so on your end, there's nothing about an admission that shows up on a criminal history check or a background check or a driver's license. Nothing through the Secretary of State. Think of it as like a parking ticket, so to speak. The idea that the township generally wants is just an agreement from you saying that you'll clean up the blight on your property within a certain amount of time. If not, the order does allow the township to go in and effectuate removal. I think I told you this before. The townships, all municipalities, they don't want to spend resources doing that. They would much rather somebody else, they'd rather you just take care of the issue. But
All right, can I explain something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
They gave me that stupid ticket for blight the day I finished doing all the work on my house they asked me to do. The day after I finished everything they asked me to do and they inspected it. They wrote the ticket for blight. They didn't even give me one more day to even try to work on my yard. And since then, I have been continually working on my yard and trying to. But they gave me zero time from that time I finished what they asked me to writing the ticket to continue my work. So I was already doing this stuff. So if I plead, whatever you want me to plead, do it. No fines, no costs, or anything. What's the point of this whole thing?
Sure. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Deputy Graham is here today. He did check out the property. I think was it earlier today?
It was this morning.
And there were just a few issues that were left to get resolved. If you'd like to hear what he would like to get cleaned up, he
no,
can
we
tell
don't.
you.
I'll take the green.
I really don't want to hear it because it's already been dismissed twice for the exact same ticket.
But I want to hear what Graham has to say.
Okay, I mean, do you want to come here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. That's what you say.
It's not the point.
Maya? Yeah, just, hey Robert, can you see me?
How you doing? Yep.
I'm well, sir. So, as you know, with blight, I had talked to you quite a few times. I had said, look, I get it. You got stuff all over the yard. We discussed about you working on your house, which I got. And I said, I understand. The township, though, in addition to the house, wants the property cleaned up. And in terms of writing the ticket, I issue the ticket at the request of the township once I verify that the ordinance is in violation. And we spoke about that. I mean, I wasn't secretive. I made no surprises.
But
We
it's the
spoke
same
about the blight.
ticket.
So the first two times, and Stephanie, to address your issue, you said that the tickets were dismissed.
Yes, they were.
So the tickets themselves were dismissed due to technicalities, and so all that meant is that court case, that ticket was gone for a technicality. It didn't mean that you were allowed to continue to violate the ordinance.
No,
So
but they
as a
didn't do
result,
due
and I tried
process.
to
But then there's
explain it,
procedural due process violation then on their end.
They didn't do it the 14
You
days
can't
to
just
clean
rewrite a
up.
ticket all over again.
They went right to court. They didn't come and to go, hey, you got 14 days to clean this up. If you clean it up in 14 days, there won't be no court. They didn't do any of the stuff they did before. They just jumped right to court.
I understand.
And that's
I do
due process.
as I am instructed by the attorney to reissue the second or the third ticket because ultimately they just want you to clean up the property. And as I said, I'm more than happy to work with you to point out what needs to be cleaned up. It didn't have to go to this, as I explained the last time, but as a result of not seeing a lot of work getting done, and I get it, you're working on the house, the winter time, but we did have a relatively mild winter. I wasn't seeing anything that showed that you were giving a good faith effort to get things cleaned up to the satisfaction of the township. So ultimately then, the township's only recourse is for us to sit down like adults and discuss it here in court, which is why
Never
we're
going to
here
be to the
right now.
satisfaction of
They
them.
took pictures of my property after I've already done a ton of work. But they walked on property to take the pictures. They stopped out here. They stopped out here and they walked up here and they took pictures of my storage container, which I got that to
Sure.
use as a shed to store things in. I got another shed which I'm storing stuff in. I've moved most of the water pile to the back of my property, stacking it up.
I saw that. They
I
look
have
good.
I have done all that. I'm one guy with a full-time job, and wintertime doesn't work for me because you can't really move around in the snow when you're moving logs.
And you get home by the time it's dark.
I don't dispute that with you, Robert. I understand. I saw you moved a heck of a lot of wood. The pile in the back looks fantastic. You've done a lot of work. There are still some issues that are in violation of the ordinance, and that's why we're here to talk about it.
If it's the
This
tall-
is the ultimate. This is where we get our resolution. So we come up with the plan here moving forward on what you need to do to clean it up, and hopefully then you're satisfied and you stick with getting it cleaned up. But that's why we're here, so that we can discuss it
Still
and ultimately
procedural
get
due
it worked
process
out.
violation.
Okay, so what technically is everybody's problem with my property?
Well, right now, you've got a lot of issues. If you read the township ordinance, you've got items all around the property in piles of things that shouldn't be there. I mean, just for instance, you've got a tractor tire leaning up against the tree in your front yard, which I saw this morning when I drove by.
That was a
That's,
still-
that has always been there. That's
that
a
was a
planter.
flower bed I picked up so I could mow my yard.
I don't have a problem with you making that as a flower bed, but
It's always been
was
there.
a flower bed.
It's
I
always
moved it
been
to
there.
mow
I
my
drive
yard.
by, I took a picture of it this morning. You've got a tractor tire.
I'm gonna
leaning
put
up
it
against
back
the tree.
as
It's
my
always
flower
been
bed.
there.
I moved it to mow my yard.
Robert, I'm not here to debate that with you. You asked, what do I identify? And I'm telling you, a tractor tire laying up against a tree is a violation. You've got some pallets of wood laying up against the back of the house. There's quite a few piles of
There's
items,
no
toys,
piles,
junk.
my
They're
heart.
not even supposed to go in the backyard.
I've got, Robert, again, I'm not here to argue that with you. I'm telling
Going
you
into
what
the
I
backyard
saw.
is a violation of our Fourth Amendment right, though, for privacy.
I don't have
You're
any
supposed to do it
pallets
from the
back there.
public road.
If you read the ordinance, anything that's visible from a neighbor's yard, and I was not in your yard taking any pictures.
A
These are
neighbor
all
has to
things
give
that
you
I saw
a
from
neighbor has to give you
Jason
permission
Cross.
first. The neighbor has to give you permission
So-
to do it. Did you go into the yard though?
Any other questions for me, sir?
There's no pallets in my yard anywhere. I have zero pallets anywhere. I have fence pieces that I have in my yard. that I am getting ready to put up. Privacy fence panels. There's privacy fence panels in my yard.
They're not pallets.
Because I am installing a privacy fence to keep the
It's a section. It's sections
out of
of
my
actual
yard.
privacy fence.
I have no problems with privacy fence. Did you get a permit to install the fence?
We're still
I
getting
got
all
the
the
fences.
pieces.
I can buy the shit without a permit.
Yeah, we're buying
No
the pieces,
problem.
then we're getting the permit. But we want to make sure we have all the pieces
That's
before
why
we
we're
get the
here to
permit.
discuss it. That's why we're here to discuss. We'll get it all worked out. I'm going to turn it over to Seth because
So
I'm
procedural
not here to
process
argue.
violation.
I'm pissed. But
So,
Shut up.
so Robert, just to, can I have maybe another 2 minutes?
Oh, of course.
Okay, thank you. Sure. So, Robert, to sort of wrap this up, then, we're kind of, I guess, at that crossroads whether we resolve it or whether we have our formal hearing. Really, I mean, the choice is up to you. It's not up to me. Like I said, I'm willing to waive fines and costs right now. I will, because I don't want to fine you anything for this. If it goes to a formal hearing, I lose that ability, and the court could issue fines.
read to me the allegations of the first ticket they wrote me. What was the problem with my property? I want to know each specific item they said was wrong with my property. I want them to read it.
Okay, give me a second, okay? Is this?
I know.
No.
That's the original.
Okay. Okay, so Robert, the way the way it works, Robert, the citation was issued on November 19th.
Yep.
So that's the date. I know that you've got a lot of those problems cleaned up. Okay.
So there was progress made. I was told there was been none progress made, right?
And we have it recorded already that 3 different times
If
they
there
said
was
our
no
yard was
progress
good.
made, but a lot of those have been taken care of, and the only thing is a new tire and fence pieces I bought, but there were no other issues, that means all my issues were solved the first time. The new issues are not the same issues. I've already fixed all the issues, and I'm still doing my issues, because I'm still working
Hang
on
on.
my shit.
Stop. And we have it recorded 3 different times where they said, even the day before the first ticket, that our yard was fine, that we weren't in violation anymore. And then we get the ticket anyway the very next day.
I got the pictures that were taken that day.
I don't
and
care
I'm
about the
showing you-
pictures. I'm saying I have it recorded. Where 3 different times, including the day before the ticket was wrote, we were no longer in violation, said by the actual supervisor and the board.
Because I cleaned up everything that they wanted, and some. Like I said, that tire was put there so I can mow my yard. The fence pieces I just got, so the new shit is pretty much stuff I just got. So there's nothing else left to do except tip my tire over and build my fence. So what are we doing here?
Yeah. Say that again?
So all I gotta do is tip my tire over and build my fence. Why the hell are we here again wasting my time?
We have the outstanding citation from the 19th, and we're trying to get that resolved now.
What is it, the first, second, or third ticket they wrote?
Third.
It's from November.
Alright,
19th.
so since the 19th, so all winter long, I got homework done, and you guys just seem to fucking want, you know what? Why don't you take it out? Oh, yeah, fuck it, and just fuck it. 'Cause I don't care anymore.
It's up to you, but
Do you wanna fight
know
us
what
or
I'm
what?
going to do.
Do it then. Whatever, do it. She's going to answer that question for you.
Well, I think we're going to fight this because this is ridiculous. We've been nothing but harassed by the supervisor from day one.
Alright, you could have your hearing. It's fine.
We've already had this ticket dismissed 2 other times. That means it is a procedural due process violation.
Okay, we'll wait for the clerk to come back out.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? He had it. He was going 4 hours. He was gone. My wife destroyed me. Yeah, she had a, we don't know. I don't think it was totally bad. It was some maybe a flu or something. But yeah, hard to know. I was reading today that in the CDC, 80% of all cases could be like asymptomatic. Great. Heard that? I think if you and I you feel that right.
there and scratch my face. And then I get it. And then I get it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like.
Exactly.
And that's so good. It's so little bad.
Good. Way to know.
What are we doing?
They would like to formal hearing.
Okay, we'll be right in. Can I give you the final?
I don't think so.
Right here. Okay, it's right here. All right.
Did you massage me? Did you like that kind of people or did this? I don't know, you should invest like 14,000 people a day or something.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. Well, when you're driving to somewhere in the high school somewhere and how the guy did crazy line.
I know they were doing testing up at Buffalo High School a few months back or weeks back, or the antibody test to see if you had it. But I never got to go. We would have had to pay for it.
Yeah, like I would do that maybe, but I'm not gonna pay for it.
Right.
And then like, you know, all the tests are reliable. Like,
Exactly.
Why freaking pay for something?
That was the other reason. Because they're getting a little more reliable now.
Also shocking to all of the pharmaceutical companies they offer money, but they haven't had a vaccine.
No.
Because whoever does it, they make a freaking fortune.
Yeah, yes, they are.
And like, it's crazy that that's happened that you think that there's technology, the amount of people that you put on it to get it figured out. Like you do. Like, oh, it came from that and that fucking really,
Yeah, I know.
you know, really, and then it just and then there's this weird facility, like right there.
It just happened to be there, right?
All rise.
Guys,
Please be seated. This is 1975910ON. Council, please state your appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Seth Coaches appearing on behalf of Antwerp Township.
Thank you. And are there any matters we need to deal with before we start the hearing?
Your Honor, I don't believe so. I think, you know, one issue that came up was I did prepare a packet for Mr. Leversey that contained the citation, the ordinance, and photographs I plan to enter into evidence.
Okay.
I mean, he's not present, so I'm not quite sure how to.
Right. It's bizarre times we're in. What does the packet contain?
A copy of the citation that Deputy Graham wrote.
And he should already have that.
He should.
Okay.
A copy of the Antwerp Township litter ordinance that we're alleging he's in violation of.
And that's available publicly on the website?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
And then a copy of photographs that were taken on November 19th, 2019, which was the date of the offense.
Okay. We'll see how this goes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. We're ready to proceed.
If the court has no objections to me waiving an opening statement, I would call Deputy Graham.
Okay. Deputy Grant? Yeah, why don't we have you come up to the stand and you'll be able to actually see Deputy Grant. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Would Your Honor want a copy of the litter ordinance prior to starting?
Sure. Thank you.
Deputy, can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
It's Deputy Paul Graham. It's Graham.
And where are you employed?
I'm a deputy with the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office.
For how long?
About 5.5 years now.
And what are your duties there?
Right now, I'm assigned to a multiple township position where I assist with enforcing the township ordinances in addition to criminal law enforcement investigations and part of uniform response.
Is Antwerp Township one of the townships that you provide ordinance enforcement services to?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what do you do as ordinance enforcement officer for Antwerp Township here in Van Buren County?
As well as officer enforcement, Antwerp Township contracts with the Sheriff's Office for 10 hours of weekly service. So every Tuesday, I meet with the officials of Antwerp Township, and they bring their issues to me that need investigating. Will send me out to different residences around the township, and based upon what I see, if I feel that it is a violation of the ordinance as stated online and in their policies, I will first make contact with the resident and try to come up with some type of a resolution, sometimes giving them a month or two, stopping back, seeing if anything happened, and then ultimately, if I'm not satisfied that any work is getting done, at the request of the township, I then write the blight ticket.
Okay. And are you familiar with property?
I am, sir.
Is that within Antwerp Township, Van Buren County, state of Michigan?
Yes, sir, it is.
How are you familiar with that address?
I've been there on a number of occasions where I've met with to discuss the condition of the property.
And this is a little awkward, but have you seen? You're familiar with Mr.
I am. We've met a couple of
Do
times.
you see him here in court today?
I see him via that television, via Zoom, yes, sir.
Okay. For the purposes of identification, can you please point and identify an article of clothing?
They're in the yellow fluorescent with the reflective stripe vest.
And your Honor, may the record reflect in court identification of Mr. Leversey by Deputy Graham.
It will so reflect.
I'd like to turn your attention now to November 19th of 2019. Did you issue a citation that day?
I did, sir.
Who did you issue that citation to?
I issued that to the property owner.
For what?
He was issued a citation for a violation of their litter ordinance, and I don't know the number. It's 2019-00. I don't know the exact number.
It would be 2019-002.
That is the one.
Okay. And is this for property, the citation that you issued, was it against property that...
Yes, sir.
How did you identify the owner of that property?
We used the BSA tax record and the information provided to me from the township.
And what is it that led you to, I guess, investigate or review his property?
Every Tuesday I meet with Daniel Rusick, the township supervisor, or one of the other township officials, and they present to me a piece of paper that says, hey, we've either received a telephone complaint about a specific property or something that they've driven past and personally seen, and they identify a possible issue, and then they ask me to make contact with the homeowner and investigate it. And if I find...
And based on any of those conversations, is that what you did?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay, can you please describe to the court what you found during your investigation?
Well, I went out to make a friendly contact, which is how I prefer to do things. Met with them and discussed the litter ordinance about the various items that were sprawled around the property. It just said, these are identified issues that are clearly violation of the township ordinance, and what can we do to clean it up? And I've been out there a couple of times, and we walked around and pointed things out and said, look, this has to get cleaned up. It's not that I want you to get rid of your stuff. That's not the intent. It's just that you have to clean it per the ordinance, and if you can even install some type of a structure per ordinance as long as you do it legally. You could keep your stuff enclosed or put it in the house. And ultimately, nothing was getting done in a timeline that was sufficient with the township, because every time I'd meet or drive by, I would report to the township, and they just said, look, enough's enough. Issue the ticket, and we'll get a resolution in court if that's what it takes, and here we are.
So on November 19th, 2019, when you issued that citation, did you take pictures of the property address?
I did, sir.
Yeah, may I approach your court clerk to have several photos marked as Township Exhibit, proposed Exhibit 1?
You may.
The court has no objection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Here, how would you like me to show these to you?
It's underneath my
All
stand.
right.
Oh, hold up 1 second. Go grab something.
We're grabbing our own photos that we have. Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
Are these photos you, did
You
you
came
give
up?
them copies of?
It's not our time.
All right. The township attorney would like to offer photographs of the property, and I think these are photos taken on November 19,
Yes, sir.
2019.
I think we have those ones. I'm trying to see.
It's my understanding that you've got your own photos you would like to present. Is that correct?
No, I have. I
Yes.
think I have those photos and some of our own. But I think I was trying to find out if we had the ones he's trying to give us, so you don't have to give them to us again.
Okay. Do you have any objection to the entry of his photos, basically allowing me to look at them?
No.
No.
Okay. They will be admitted.
Deputy Sheriff, do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, sir. This is the property in question on 64th Avenue.
And you took those photographs?
Yes, I did.
They accurately depict what this property looked like on November 19th, 2019.
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain to the court what you identify as violations of the township litter ordinance within those pictures?
Well, I go right by the definition in the ordinance, which is junk, debris, trash, litter, household goods, unusable items or broken items or items that are not commonly found sitting outside that should either be inside or in working order. If it looks like items that are trash or things that are broken, this was part of the initial discussion where I say, what is this? Does it work? Do you use it? Well, why do you have it? And there were piles of wood, there were barrels, there were tires, just debris, things, as I said, stated right in the ordinance. And based on what I saw and the collection of items, things laying up even against the house. There were screens laying up against the house, just
Yeah.
clear-cut things that are specifically spelled out in the ordinance, and as a result, since nothing got taken care of, ticket was issued.
Reviewing some of the photos, it looks like on the third page there's a picture of a tire on the ground and a basketball hoop and
Yes,
some
sir.
barrels. Do those constitute violations?
They do. Items that are broken, such as the basketball hoop. If the basketball hoop was installed and used and in working condition, that would have been permitted. However, it wasn't. It was in a bad state of disrepair and laying in the backyard of a property where that's not normally where a basketball hoop would be installed, or it's just not working.
On the fifth photograph that you took, it looked like there's a barrel that has garbage overflowing. Would that meet the definition?
That meets the definition.
Your Honor, may I publish these pictures to the courts?
You may, and they will be admitted by stipulation.
Now, reviewing the township's litter ordinance, it does indicate that there may be a special permit that someone may apply for that would allow them to keep certain items in special hardship situations.
Correct,
Did
sir.
Mr. Leversey, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Did Mr. Leversey obtain a permit?
No permits that I was informed existed, and the township supervisor is pretty good about providing me all of up-to-date known information, but nothing had been provided to me to prove a permit had been issued.
And this one.
And then Did you do any follow-up work and take photographs since then?
I did. I was asked to go out there this morning just to see what had been done, and I did take some pictures of the property from the streets without walking on the property because I don't trespass. I take pictures on the property if I make contact, and while I'm there, I say, hey, can I take some photographs just to show the township what's going on, which was approved the first time on the 19th when those were taken. But this morning's pictures, yes, I was there and I do have photographs.
Could you please describe the condition of the property as you saw it today?
So I will admit that Mr. has done some work with cleaning some things up. I noticed that most of the logs that were thrown around the property had been neatly stacked in the backyard. They were areas that have been cleaned up and worked on. But as I drove up to the yard, the first thing I noticed, there's a giant tire tractor leaning up against a tree. There's what looked like pallets or construction material laying up against the fence, in addition to other items, household debris and items laying on the west side of the property. There's a giant pile of miscellaneous debris and things along the southeast corner that shouldn't be there, that looks like it was just collected up amongst the property when it was initially seen on the 19th, and then just put into a bigger pile up against the house. So based on what I saw, yes, I can absolutely say some cleaning work was done. However, more blight was created in the process.
When you say blight, you're referring to the items you just described, would that satisfy, in your opinion, the definition of
Yes, sir.
litter? Your Honor, may I approach the clerk for identification of Township's proposed exhibit number 2, which is pictures Deputy Graham took this morning of the subject property?
You may. I will admit the pictures aren't the greatest because the sun was right in the camera, but I can clearly see the debris in the piles that should not be there.
And Mr., do you have any objection to the court viewing these photos, the ones that were taken today?
No, I would like to put.
So,
I have no objection to you using it, but I have a thing. I'd like to add to a note on it. I guess I had a bobcat here this weekend, and that's why things were getting done the way they got done. Is why things are pushed and not taken care of. So.
okay. Well, for now, we'll admit the photos, and then obviously you'll get an opportunity to tell the court anything you want, sir.
Deputy Graham, you took those photographs?
Yes, sir.
They accurately depict the property as it was of this morning?
Yes, sir.
I move to admit, Your Honor. I believe
They will be.
Besides your testimony to the court describing the condition of the property today, do you have anything else to add regarding those pictures?
I don't. Oh, well, I will say there is now a metal storage container that is kind of like what you'd see either like on the back of a semi, a metal enclosure that in that picture right there, sir, that I know is not permitted by township ordinance. That was not there before, which is now there.
And is there anything additional you'd like to tell the court about the property regarding the November 19th, 2019 citation?
Well, as I said, I'm not unreasonable when I enforce the ordinances. I will admit Mr. Leversey has done some work. He is cleaning, but he's created additional blight things in the midst of cleaning. So it's still what I would say a work in progress. It doesn't suffice to satisfy the township ordinance. But I will say he has done some work, which is what I'd asked. It just isn't complete.
Okay.
I have no additional questions for this witness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is your opportunity to ask Deputy Graham any questions, if you have any.
We do.
I have questions, and okay. Was the citation only issued because the township supervisor asked you to, after the
Previous.
previous citation was dismissed by the court? You might want to read that one. Hold on, let her read it.
Was the citation only issued because the township supervisor asked you to after the previous citations were already dismissed by the court?
Well, as I am hired by the township, and that is my job to enforce the ordinances, when the township supervisor asked me to go investigate and see if blight is still there, that's why ultimately the third citation was issued. So yes, the township always requests that I write a ticket if I find blight in violation of the
What
ordinance.
about the second one?
Was that citation written the day after it was dismissed in court?
To my recollection, I do not remember. It would have had to have been written after the one was dismissed.
The day
after.
after.
Did the township officials push for all 3 tickets?
Again, the township instructs that there is an issue on a property, and if I identify it to be so, I go ahead and write the ticket.
All right. I remember talking to you, and you came here once in the morning, or my wife and everything, told us that everything was good, left. 3 hours, 4 hours later, came back and had a ticket because the supervisor told you to write a ticket. You saw we were working on it. You saw we were cleaning it. We were doing good. It was looking better. You went. You left. It was all good. And you came back. Is that true?
I can't confirm or deny it. I obviously came back because I
can't
ultimately
remember?
wrote you a citation.
You don't remember saying that to me? Everything was good and then left and then came back because he told you to?
Anyway.
Again, I can't confirm or deny it. I did have a conversation with the township attorney who stated that the second ticket was dismissed also due to a technicality, but that doesn't relieve you of the fact that you're in violation of the ordinance, and they ultimately just wanted the property cleaned,
No,
which is why a third ticket was written.
That's not true.
Sure. Do you know about the shed that the township had us demolish just before you wrote that citation?
I'm not aware of that.
Did you take pictures from areas other than the public roadway?
This morning
Ever.
Ever?
or on the 19th?
Ever.
Both.
On the 19th, you were with me, and I discussed that I need to be there to take pictures. I said, I need to take these pictures. You were there. You were aware of what I was doing. So I had your permission to be on that property.
No, you did not, because I made
This
sure you
morning,
said
no.
you stayed by the roadway.
This morning, no, I was not on your property when I took tickets. I don't trespass on people's property.
But you did just tell us that you took pictures from the neighbor's property.
Did you ask them?
Correct?
Did you ask them for permission?
No.
Because I have an actual written statement that says you were not allowed to be on their property to take pictures.
And I'm sure the court would be love to see that, but I don't find how that's relative with you still being in violation of a township ordinance. You seem to want to get
Because
off
that's a
of
violation of our
technicalities.
Fourth
It's a
Amendment
violation.
right to have privacy in our backyard.
I have pictures right here of every step of the way of what you are saying I need to clean up, what I now need to clean up, and everything from August 28th that they wanted me to clean up
27th.
is no longer in the spots that you guys wanted. Hell, half of it's gone.
Completely gone.
That basketball hoop's not there. The logs, the barrels, everything on the side of the house ain't there. My shed ain't there. My storage container is like a pod, when the ones you can order and have them dropped off and you store your stuff in them. It's that kind of pod. How is that against the? It's not a semi truck. There's a semi truck down the road. Nobody seems to care about sitting in somebody's yard, but that's not a big deal. But everything that you guys have on these pictures,
Half of them were in our yard.
all the pictures from the 19th, gone. Everything's been gone. Everything's new now. So you say no progress is being done, but if everything is gone that was a problem on the 19th, and all you have is new pictures of new stuff because you say I'm making more of a blight.
Well, if I'm going to interject. So a couple of issues. Number one, today is about the condition of the property on November 9, 2019. Now, that being said, Deputy Graham did testify and provide photos, but more importantly, testified that there has certainly been effort on your part to remedy the situation, to take care of the litter. So I don't think that's in dispute. A couple of other issues regarding why Deputy Graham was there and whether it was at the direction of the township supervisor or some other elected official. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that every one of these is at their direction,
That's correct.
right? It's as opposed to proactive police work where you're out looking for drunk drivers.
Correct.
That this is a responsive.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
And not from a call in either.
I'm sorry?
They didn't get a call, a complaint. They didn't get a complaint. It was the supervisor complaining, which he can't be the complainant of my property. None of my neighbors called them and said, this property is looking like this, da da da. He just decided one day to do it.
Okay. So what you're saying is that the township supervisor cannot ask the sheriff's deputy to investigate littering,
No.
an ordinance violation.
Not without a complaint first.
Okay. What are you basing that on?
I found township bylaws that state it.
Okay.
Where's all my notes on?
So you can-
Also, this ticket has been dismissed in court twice, and I have 3 different recordings where they actually state that our yard was fine and there was no more violation, and we wouldn't have to deal with them anymore.
Yeah, a week, and then we wrote a ticket later. This all stems from my house. They wanted me to fix my house, so I fixed my house. They wanted me to clean my property. Fixed my house. Was gonna clean my property. They wrote the ticket before I could get on the property part. So I have no clue why they did it.
Say that again.
When they wrote the
I
first-
couldn't make.
They tried to condemn my house back in like May, and then I told them what do I got to fix? They told me to fix my roof, tear down my shed, put siding up, do all this work to my house, and then clean my blight up. I said, okay, cool. So I spent the whole summer working on my house, fixing my house up. Got done. They inspected it, said it was all good. Next day, we got the ticket. The next day, saying that the yard looks like crap. I said, I haven't had a chance to finish. I just got done working on my house. I'm one guy. And they dismissed
And
it.
that was about what month?
Oh, that was in August or July
What,
when we finished that one. Or
August.
Maybe August.
It was August. We had
Okay.
we had a ticket on August 28th. Then we got another ticket on October 29th.
That was the second one they dismissed.
Once that one was dismissed, which was on November 12th, we got the ticket on November 19th.
But it was. I was working on everything. I fixed the house up, made it look good. Was gonna work on my yard, and they wrote a ticket. The next day. That just doesn't seem like that's want me to clean my yard. It seems like they want to write a ticket.
Well, so let me slow it down. Let's address these as they come. So why? Because I don't recall. Those were not dismissed because
One was dismissed
The court-
because that attorney
the
didn't
court
show up.
Okay, so that's kind of my point. Is that they weren't dismissed because there was a judicial finding that it was not.
I think
littering.
the second one was. It said
That-
order of, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's unwilling to prosecute.
Yeah, that's not a court finding.
I can clarify
But-
that one, sir.
Oh, Deputy Graham?
So when I wrote the first ticket and then there was a scheduling issue, the attorney didn't show up for the first hearing and it was dismissed.
Definitely.
I was asked to rewrite a ticket, so I mistakenly then wrote a ticket
I
on the
remember
same
that.
complaint,
Okay, yeah.
which ultimately was dismissed. We said we can't write a second ticket on the same dismissed complaint.
Okay,
So I opened
Okay.
a brand new complaint, started all over, and I wrote the third
thank
ticket.
you.
If I wouldn't
Okay,
have
so
showed
let
up
me-
to
let me-
court, if I wouldn't have showed up to court like his attorney did, I wouldn't have got a redo, would I? There's no.
Well, I'm going to explain that. So here's what happened. I think the first court appearance, township attorney did not show up. They did not appear, so it got dismissed, as it should have.
Yes.
And the date of offense on that was not November 19. It was some day prior to that.
Like August sometime. Yeah.
Okay, August, right. So when that happened, the township, I think I'm getting this right, said, Deputy Graham, can you refile this littering? And Deputy Graham filed a report that said on such and such a date, I found evidence of littering, but it was all the evidence from the previous one. So my recollection is that the court looked at it, me, and said, well, no, there's got to be new. Deputy Graham would need to go back and look for the new date.
Okay.
So the court dismissed it, and so what's important about that is it wasn't the court looking at evidence saying this is not littering. It was the court saying basically on a technicality, right? Which that's the job of the court sometimes, right? Is to look at the technical parts and say there's something technical missing.
Okay, I don't want a technicality. I don't want a technicality. No.
Exactly.
Let me finish,
exactly
please.
right.
I don't want that.
But what's important about that is that there's not been a judicial finding that
But if
it wasn't littering.
But sir, if we wouldn't have shown up to court, it would have been automatically marked against us,
And we would not get a
and
redo.
we would not get a
yes.
redo.
So let me address that. So this is a little different in that, let's say the crime was drunk driving. That you were drunk driving on July 4th. And something happens, prosecutor fails to produce a witness, and it gets dismissed. The prosecutor would not get a redo. Absolutely not. This is different in that the littering is ongoing. So they could go out in July and say, I see littering. They could go out in August. They could go out every month as long as they see it, because it's an ongoing event as opposed to a one-time drunk driving or
We
domestic
understand.
violence.
Can I talk, please?
No, we understand that, but at the same time, the third ticket shouldn't have been written without procedural due process, where they actually give us a warning, have us
14
go
days.
over all the steps all over again.
The 14 days, 30 days they give you usually to clean it up before the court processes come in.
There's a process that they have to
Because-
follow, and it's in their own ordinances that they have to follow.
I'm continually always working on my yard, trying to do things. Like I said, I work till 6 o'clock at night. In the wintertime, I don't have lights, so I can't do nothing at night. So summertime, I get 4 months worth of good daylight to work on my yard. So I get 3-4 hours after work when I'm already tired to work on my yard. I work Saturdays. So I'm not trying to get out of this by technicality, but everything they ask for, I have completely done for them. When they see something new there, it's because I'm probably got a new project going on, or I'm trying to put my sheds together, or move my stuff around, and get my things in order. And it takes time when you have a full-time job that is exhausting. And so I have not once said I have not done anything, and I've not tried, and I've been working at it. And yes, I have caused more blight by pushing with a bobcat, trying to clear up garbage piles so I can actually freaking garbage pile that was on my property before I got it,
and wasn't even on our yard.
so I can level my ground out and put a fence in. So you guys can quit coming out of my backyard and look at every little thing I might buy and say, well, you can't have that.
Right. Well, let me say a couple things. Home ownership is often not fun. It's continuous work at your house, at my house.
I'm okay
It's
with
just
that.
part of owning a home.
We get
right?
that.
I'm okay with that.
And it looks like, from the pictures I'm looking at, first thing I see is you got a F-250. You got a truck,
Yeah,
right?
I love my truck.
And there's not that much stuff here. I mean, it looks, the township has a dump, right? I usually
hasn't
go
been
to the one
open.
on Sprinkle.
Yeah.
What's that?
It hasn't been open due to COVID.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I usually go to the one on Sprinkle for whatever reason, and I pay the $7
cheaper.
or $13, but yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just saying, it doesn't even look like you have that many. It wouldn't be that many trips to get a lot of this cleaned up, like the basketball hoop, the tires.
That's
the
all
barrels.
gone.
That's all gone.
It's
It's
been
been
gone.
gone.
Well, okay, just you gotta slow down. Slow down. Okay, so now Deputy Graham, when he goes out, he does that at the direction of the township,
Right.
right? Of the elected officials in the township.
Right.
So I don't quite understand the hostility directed at the deputy.
It's not him.
Hang on.
It's not him.
It's
can
not
answer
right.
this.
You got a boss. You got a boss. I
Right.
got a boss. He's
The
got a
problem,
boss. Right.
the problem is where we have actual recordings where the township board and the supervisor have all said everything's been fine, it's all been finished and fixed up, and the violation is null and void.
I feel like the township supervisor and everyone was just harassing the hell out of me for
They have been
whatever reason.
harassing
I don't know
us.
what it is. and this is personal to me because it's my home where I have my family.
Sure.
And so I get a little heated because of it. It's personal. I'm not directing it at him, you, or anything else. And when I get upset, it just sounds like I'm mad at everybody, but I'm not. I'm just really, really angry at all the facts that are being put out there that are kind of misleading because nobody sees what our side of it that we have doing and everything. They're doing against us for whatever reason. They're doing it. I don't know why he's doing it. The supervisor is just harassing me.
And we're actually trying to go by the code enforcement. What was it? The Antwerp Township Code Enforcement Program that was voted in last year. That's where I got the due process
to clean
from.
my yard up. Exhausted so much that I can barely work at work. I want to do it steadily. And when they give me a time frame of 30 days, I have to go home every day after work and bust my butt in the rain, everything. I just want to be able to do it at my own pace and get it done. Not a time limit.
Okay. Yep, I can understand that. So, what I have the authority to decide today is whether or not on November 19, 2019, there was litter in violation of the township ordinance. I don't get to dictate how long they give you, although it does sound like from the testimony that the first contact was in about July, so there was some warning.
During
Not that it doesn't
construction.
take a lot of, not that it doesn't take a lot of time. It does take a lot of time. Deputy Graham has also testified that it's clear to him that you are making effort to get this property taken care of. And for what it's worth, it's for the best interest of everybody, right? The township wants to make sure that homes don't have this kind of litter because it increases property values for everybody.
Right, this
On
is
the same
property,
hand,
sir, that's just
it's
property
your
value,
property.
though.
It's your property. Don't interrupt me. At the same time, it's your property. And the value of your home goes up in relation to how clean it is, right? So this is really to serve everyone's best interest. So what I see here from the pictures dated November 19, there are burn barrels with
Nope.
trash in them.
Was not on our property.
Then there's some
was not on our
plastic
property.
barrels.
The 26th. Well,
You know, the basketball hoop, the tires,
August.
some of the other stuff. I can't tell what it is, but I can tell it's.
A lot of that
it
wasn't even our
appears to be
property.
litter. There's a box from a toilet.
Not our property.
You know that we recently had in the last year a toilet replaced, and the box.
We haven't never
to
replaced
the
a
dump.
toilet. That was our neighbor's property, the empty lot next door.
Some of that stuff was on the property line adjacent to us, and it was on their property.
Is
their
this
stuff.
on their property? That's on their property.
We've never replaced a toilet.
There's not a fence. It's not. That's the property line. And shit
So,
was-
and here we have some bags of garbage. These are just things
Pop
you can't
bottles.
have, right?
They
None
were
of us can
pop
have.
bottles.
You can't have, I can't have on my property. It's just not allowed.
they were bags of pop bottles, not bags of garbage. They were pop bottles, bagged up.
Bags of pop bottles, even then, we can't leave that in
Where
our
is
yard.
it?
Trust me, if
Where is
I've
it?
got
A nuisance
bags of pop
to the actual
bottles
health and safety of the neighbors.
in my garage, those can't, I don't take the returnables in. I'm not sure why we save them. We just do. I do what I'm told at home sometimes. I'm hoping that the local youth football will come by and say, do you have pop bottles so I can just give them to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. But what I can't, if I put those in my yard, neighbors are going to be upset.
Okay. I had them in a shed that I had built in the back, but they made me tear my shed down because they didn't like how it looked. They said it didn't look safe. It didn't look safe.
Yep.
Is what they said. So I had to tear it down. It took my truck 6 pulls to yank it down. That's how unsafe it was. So I had all my stuff was going in my shed, but they didn't like my shed. So I tore it down and fixed my back porch, did all this stuff. Then I had nowhere to put my stuff. So I got a storage unit. Packed that thing so full, I had nowhere to put my stuff. Then they let me take it because I got all this stuff. Can you give me some sheds? Because I had a nice 16 by 16 foot shed.
But the point is, though, where is it? where is the violation actually a health and hazard risk to anybody else?
They didn't like my shed look.
It's not a risk to the
That's
environment, and it's not
what
a risk to anybody else.
That's not what I'm here to decide.
That's what
So
the litter
I can
ordinance says
decide-
it has to be, though.
It's fine. We're gonna do what we're doing.
All right, Ms. London, don't interrupt me, please. So what I can decide is whether or not the evidence I'm seeing is a violation. I find that it is a violation.
It's a violation on their part too, though, because they didn't do
Within
process.
the definition, you can't have waste materials, garbage, bottles, boxes. You know, I see a lot of these things that are listed in the photographs that we can't have just laying around our yard. So I do find that there was littering on that date. And I don't think my finding, we don't make a plan or anything from this, right?
I think the township still would ask for.
All the pictures. All the pictures. All the
Okay,
pictures.
and
Please.
so what do you mean by?
Fuck you.
You gotta be quiet so I can hear what the attorney's saying.
I mean, right, some of the general language was just to rectify the blight that's on their property within 30 days. If he needs a little more time, I'm sure the township wouldn't have an objection to 45 days or.
It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And as I explained to Mr. Leversey, the last thing any municipality wants to do, especially now, is to use resources to clean up an issue. They would much rather him address his own property. But they would like the protection of a compliance order in case it doesn't happen.
And so if they comply, then what?
That's it.
Then it's dismissed?
If they comply, then the order never gets, that never really gets enforced. Because many times, we had two other cases this morning or this afternoon resolved, and a compliance order will get signed, and if that's basically it as far as on the court's end. Most cases do resolve on their own. Very rarely does the township have to follow the compliance order.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I'm not sure how much of that you're able to hear, but
All of it.
generally speaking, so for instance, this afternoon I had traffic court, right? I make a determination, so-and-so was speeding, I find you responsible, you pay the fine. In this case, that's not what the township is asking for. They are willing to enter into what's called a compliance order to give you more time. Because everyone wants the same thing here. You want your property clean probably more than they do, right? To have things squared away. I know how stressful it is when you got stuff undone at your house, right? You want the same thing they want. And they're willing to give you more time to get there. And as Deputy Graham said, you're clearly working toward that. He even took photos of it to show the court. They are working toward compliance. So they would like to see that happen. Do you have anything further?
Are these the pictures you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
That's been removed for months.
Here's a picture
Since then.
since then. The back of the house.
Okay, but
the
again,
log pile's still
we're
there.
talking,
Yes.
but
we know.
again, we're talking about November 19,
Yeah,
what
right.
it looked like.
Yeah.
But Graham
that's
already
what they
said
were.
all the things that were in the pictures were removed.
That's the 19th pictures. Right. Would you stop saying social media? Those are the 19th pictures. I'm pretty sure those are the right pictures that he's
He
talking
said
about.
yes.
Now, you said if it's all cleaned up, right? If it's all cleaned up,
Then
it gets dismissed.
He already said it
So
was cleaned
I'm
up.
showing you evidence of everything in these pictures that you're looking at, of everything being cleaned up. I'm just now working on putting a fence in and other things now. So what he's seeing now is all new because I'm doing construction. So I just want to prove that it's all done already. That's all I want to do.
Okay, well, here's a couple things. Number one, have you ever seen the movie with Billy Crystal, When Harry Met Sally?
She has. I haven't.
You remember the couple periodically they would cut to the old couple that were bickering back and forth, right? Is that- That's you two. Constantly chirping at each other. It makes me laugh. So here's how that's going to go, okay? I'm not going to make a finding based on photographs that the compliance order is going to be satisfied. Township's willing to give you 45 days, and then Deputy Graham, I assume, would go back and take a look at the progress. and see where you're at.
And since the 2008 those pictures are done, they should be done. He can come today then. What the hell? No.
They're giving you 45 days.
I hate time limits
45
because
days. So
That's
I
fine.
work.
If it's
fine.
done, if it's done today, great. You just got to maintain it for 45 days,
Exactly.
and then Deputy Graham will come back out and take a look at your progress. And I'm sure the township would love to sign off on the order's been complied with.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see.
So would you be submitting an order?
I'll send an order, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So I know it's a lot of work, right? It's a
Yeah.
lot. Owning a home is a lot of work, especially when you got cleanup to do.
And the time limit. Yeah.
Just part of the deal.
The time limit is what makes it harder.
No, this time limit's fine. Just zip it.
I don't like.
What'd you say?
It's the time limit, giving me a set amount of time to do it, makes it harder. It means I have to 8-10-hour days, come home, 2-hour days, 12-hour days, work. I move logs
I
for a
know, but-
living.
You know what they say though. Without deadlines, nothing to get done.
Oh no, it'll still get done.
That's-
Trust me.
That's true for a lot of us. So it's true for me. For
I
sure.
love yard work. I love yard work.
Just shut up.
Okay.
So I just
Well, good. Well, the weather's going to be pretty good, and hope you get done and this gets resolved. And Deputy Graham will be out to talk to you.
okay. I guess.
All right. Good luck to both of you.
Yep.
All right.